The silence most men carry is not peace. It is the deafening roar of unspoken regrets, of paths not taken, of the potent man he could have been, but chose not to be. This quiet desperation is not an accident. It is a default, setting for the undisciplined mind. The world, with its cacophony of fleeting pleasures and manufactured desires, is a master at lulling men into a state of passive existence. They drift, rather than steer, their lives becoming a series of reactions to external stimuli, rather than deliberate creations. This subtle surrender begins early. It's the voice in the head that whispers, "Just get by. Don't make waves. It's too hard." It's the gradual erosion of ambition, replaced by the comfort of the familiar. A man begins to see his potential not as a mountain to be climbed, but as a dangerous precipice to be avoided. He chooses the well-trodden path not because it is right, but because it is easy. He exchanges the possibility of greatness for the certainty of mediocrity. The consequence is a life lived behind a veil, a life where emotions are muted, desires are unpursued, and the true self remains a stranger. He may appear functional, even successful by external metrics, but within, a hollowness festers. This is the essence of quiet desperation, a profound disconnect between the life one is living and the life one knows, deep down, is possible. Consider the soldier training for war. He endures hardship, pain, and relentless discipline, not for the sake of suffering, but to forge himself into a weapon capable of achieving a vital objective. His discomfort is purposeful. The man succumbing to quiet desperation, however, embraces discomfort only when it is imposed by his own inaction. His training is absent, his muscles of will atrophy, and his capacity to overcome profound challenges diminishes with each passing day. This descent is often masked by outward conformity. Men learn to wear the right masks, say the right things, and occupy the predictable roles society assigns. They trade authenticity for acceptance, conviction for comfort. They become actors in a play they didn't write, reciting lines that ring hollow, all the while sensing the audience is as lost as they are. The grand narratives of heroism and self-discovery are dismissed as fantasies, replaced by the mundane routines that numb the soul. What is the bedrock of this condition? It is the absence of internal fortitude, the failure to confront the self. Most men are afraid to truly look inward, to face the parts of themselves that are weak, fearful, or resentful. They prefer the illusion of control offered by external achievements or fleeting pleasures, rather than the arduous but ultimately liberating task of self-mastery. This avoidance is a slow form of self-betrayal, a silent agreement to remain less than one could be. We are programmed for more. The human spirit, even when suppressed, yearns for challenge, for growth, for the application of its full capacities. When this yearning is consistently ignored, it curdles into a low-grade despair. It manifests as apathy, cynicism, or a pervasive sense of, what's the point? It is the quiet acknowledgement that the flame within is dimming, not because it was extinguished by external forces, but because it was never adequately tended. The Stoics understood this internal battle. Marcus Aurelius in his Meditations wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." The quiet desperation arises precisely from this forgotten truth. Men surrender their power over their minds, allowing external circumstances and internal inertia to dictate their existence. They become slaves to their impulses, their fears, and the opinions of others. This is not a state of inevitable doom. It is a condition that can be recognized, understood, and overcome. The first step is acknowledging the reality of this quiet desperation, seeing it not as a personal failing, but as a common trap. It requires the courage to question the comfortable narratives one has accepted, the bravery to look at the unlived life and ask, why? No. The man who succumbs to despair often blames external factors, the economy, his upbringing, bad luck. He seeks external solutions for internal problems. He might chase wealth, status, or fleeting relationships, hoping these will fill the void. But the void is within, and only internal work can truly mend it. The pursuit of external validation is a treadmill. It offers the illusion of progress but leads nowhere meaningful. The path out requires a radical shift in perspective. It begins with a commitment to discipline, not as punishment, but as a tool for self-creation. It is the deliberate practice of doing what is difficult, of facing discomfort head-on, of choosing virtue over pleasure, and of acting in accordance with one's highest principles, even when no one is watching. This is the forge where true strength is built. Consider the monk in silent contemplation. His discipline is not about self-denial for its own sake, but about stripping away the external noise to hear the internal truth. He confronts his own thoughts, his own ego, his own limitations, not to be defeated by them, but to transcend them. This is the profound work that quiet desperation prevents. Many men fear this confrontation. They fear discovering their own limitations, their own shallowness, their own capacity for mediocrity. They fear that if they look too closely, they will find nothing of substance. But the opposite is true. Within the depths of self-examination lies the raw material for transformation. It is in acknowledging the shadow that we can begin to integrate it and step into the light of a more authentic existence. The antidote to quiet desperation is not loud pronouncements or grand gestures. It is the quiet, persistent, unyielding commitment to becoming the man you are meant to be. It is the daily decision to act with purpose, to embrace challenge, and to cultivate inner strength. It is the refusal to let the potential within you wither and die, unfulfilled. This requires intentionality. A man must actively choose his path, define his values, and set his objectives. He must build systems and habits that support his growth, not hinder it. This is not about perfection, but about progress. It is about showing up, day after day, ready to do the work, even when the motivation wanes and the world offers easier alternatives. The disciplined mind is the impregnable fortress against the siege of quiet desperation. Is this an easy path? No. Is it a path that guarantees external success or societal approval? Not necessarily. But it is the only path that guarantees a life free from the gnawing regret of what might have been. It is the path to genuine self-respect and inner peace, a peace that is not born of ignorance or avoidance, but of courageous self-confrontation and deliberate action. The man who escapes quiet desperation does not necessarily acquire more possessions or accolades. His wealth is internal. He possesses a quiet confidence, a profound resilience, and a deep sense of purpose. He has faced himself and found something worthy of respect. He has chosen to live, not just exist. And in that choice he finds true freedom. The silence most men carry is not peace. It is the deafening roar of unspoken regrets, of paths not taken, of the potent man he could have been, but chose not to be. This quiet desperation is not an accident. It is a default setting for the undisciplined mind. To escape it is to choose courage over comfort, purpose over passivity, and finally, to become the architect of one's own meaningful existence.